This episode is brought to you by Starpil Pro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pink Table Talk. It is Taylor and Crystal, as always. And today we have our wonderful Nova account manager, Miss Lauren, here today. So before we get into the episode, Miss Lauren, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes. Hello. I'm Lauren. I am the Nova Wax account manager, but I started out in the hair world. I owned my own business for a few years and really ended up falling in love with waxing while I did that. And I've been teaching for the last 4 years, and now I get to help people build their own business. I love it.
Beautiful. I love that for you. So today we are going to be talking about the importance of raising your prices and investing in your business. Crystal loves talking about raising prices and investing in your business.
Absolutely.
Yes. So people get confused or maybe a little lost on how they should increase their prices, like by how much, or they'll make up a baseline number, like how we were talking about earlier, charging $35 for a Brazilian is absolutely outrageous. You're not making any money off of that. So profit margins is how you measure how much money you're making off of a service, right? So if a service costs you $10 and you're charging $15, your profit margin is teeny tiny. So I guess, Crystal, go into a little bit more of how you recommend pricing everything with ordering when people call in.
So let's talk about just raising prices,
Yeah.
right? How do you know when to raise your prices?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing. A lot of people get nervous with when should I look to raise my prices? What's the right time? For me, look at your schedule.
Facts.
If you are not 80% booked or more,
At least.
it's not the time to raise your prices. You have to consider the clientele that you have. So you might need to look at other options to raise your prices, not necessarily service-wise, but retail.
Yeah.
Or adding upsell opportunities, raising your ticket for the people that are in the salon with you. So always look at your book. Always look at your competition, who is in the area, right? You got to make sure your prices are relevant. Like 35, way too low for a Brazilian.
Yeah. People are going to come to you, but you're not going to make any money off of that service price.
Yes.
Service point price.
You will have to do so many Brazilians
Yeah.
before you start seeing a profit. So all things to consider. But a big thing you're talking about is your profit margin. So you got to get those costs down. So that's something we always talk about is wholesale, looking at the tiers, figuring out what are your go-to products, and then how do you get them at the lowest price.
Right.
So that even if you're not ready to raise your prices at the moment, you can still get the most profit off of that. So that's key.
Right. And one, keeping track of your numbers is important.
Oh, yeah.
And comparing your costs from your current price and then what you really need to be making to make a profit. So Lauren, do you want to go into that? And when you had your business, even though it was hair, it's still, the beauty industry and everything.
Yeah, it's still pricing, right? It's still charging your worth, but also, like you're saying, considering your profit margins. And I was always told, too, same kind of thing. As long as you're booked 80% of the time for a solid 3 months, it is time to raise your prices. At the same time, you want to weed out those customers that are not valuing your services or your time, and make room for those that are, that want to pay that price. If you're that booked, it's time to give yourself a raise, is what I always think about, too. We need to think about ourselves and how much money we're also investing into our education. How many classes have I taken since I've started? How much has my technique grown in that aspect? So there's so many different factors to consider, obviously, when you're looking at raising prices.
Right. And with the larger profit margin, you'll be able to put more money back into your business. And ordering plays a huge role in that. For me, again, if this is your first time tuning in, I own my own waxing and facial studio for a long time as well. So it takes a minute for people to figure out how much to order and when often they should order. I was lucky, and I was just busy as soon as COVID not ended, but when things started to reopen, I was busy immediately. So it took me a minute to figure out my ordering groove. I was doing, I think 22 pounds every 2 weeks, something like that. And then I got busier, so I ended up doing 40 pounds every 2 weeks.
Love that.
But we offer 30-pound boxes. And again, Crystal was mentioning tiers and everything. So tying back into price, if you order the 30-pound box rather than just getting like 20 pounds every week, you're going to be spending more money buying those 20 pounds every week compared to just getting a 30-pound box. So, Crystal, do you want to go more into like the tiers and everything?
I'm a math girl. I've been in the beauty industry for 11 years, over a decade, but me and math, we're best friends. So I know it's not everyone's favorite thing, but that's what me and my team are here to help you with, figure out the numbers. But for me, the most helpful thing is break it down to the smallest number. If we're talking pounds of wax, let's break it down to the lowest price per pound. If you want to buy 20 pounds, you're probably spending around $17 a pound if you were buying like a 10-pound blue and not taking advantage of the wholesale or the 30-pound box. The first time you jump into a 30-pound, you already go down to $14 a pound. Then you can get into higher tiers that could bring you to like $11 a pound, $10 a pound. And then you're really talking about maximizing your return on investment because now your cost per service is going down without raising your prices. But when do I know when to buy? How do I figure it out? So let's use your example, right? If you were doing 22 pounds, you said every 2 weeks. So for me, you probably were worried about inventory a lot. Do I have enough? Am I about to run out?
Because I would run out and then I would have to go to like Cosmoprof and get other brands that I'm not really a fan of.
We all deal with it, right? That's not uncommon. Sometimes you have to.
And it's more expensive.
Oh,
it's so much more. It's crazy how much more expensive it is at a Cosmoprof or Salon Centric.
You're spending, it might be convenient in that moment, but you're spending a lot more and you're not getting a return on investment. And you are a business owner. You got to think about those things. So if you are ordering 22 pounds every 2 weeks, and I know that our wholesale, let's say we're talking 30 pounds, I would just do some math. So 22 pounds every 2 weeks, 44 pounds a month. Let's go for 60 pounds every month. I'm already getting a price drop with having product in bulk. I'm saving more per service. And now I have the peace of mind knowing I'm stocked up. Let's say you got busier, which, woo, we love that, right? But let's say you needed a little extra wax, Valentine's Day, July, summer months are really busy for us, holiday season. So you have to be able to think about that. So sometimes it's better to have a little bit more, but that peace of mind is, it's like such a valuable thing for business owners. You guys are wearing so many hats. You got to make it small and easy for you.
And that stress can do a lot to you. That work-life balance just kind of starts going out the window a little bit, and you start like crunching things a little at home and trying to make it stretch when if you just prepared a little bit more, took 10 to 15 minutes to run those numbers, really look at your data. Like that data is everything. That's going to tell you what you need to know and how frequently you need to be ordering.
Yeah, I think a lot of business owners, especially starting out, don't necessarily pay attention to breaking their numbers down. They might just look at, I made, $5,000 this week and not really seeing how much they actually made. Like, I made $5,000, but did I really make $5,000 or did I make like $500 because of all of my expenses?
Yeah.
So again, back to your profit margin, it's eeny, beeny, teeny, weeny.
If you're spending more on your wax,
you're
cutting into
your wax,
it.
right? So you're cutting into the money that you could be, one, paying yourself and paying your taxes, but also going back into your business. So like you said, retail is a great way to increase your overall revenue. So for pricing retail, I always recommend at least 100% markup.
Doubling what you are
At
paying
least.
for. Yeah, absolutely. If you're getting the product at 20, normally you are retailing it for 40.
At least.
I love retail. It's one of my favorite things to talk about because it is the easiest way to increase your return on investment. If you're worried about, I only have 3 clients on my book, but I know I need to make $600 today.
Retail is so easy.
That's exactly
so
it. Or an
easy.
upsell. You could add on a body peel.
Or an add-on service.
Add-on service.
Yeah.
Don't just let your book dictate what you're going to make.
Correct.
Make a plan of action, attack that plan. I want to sell some retail today. I'm going to upsell my clients because you also have to plan ahead. A lot of our customers are every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, So we might have some lulls. We might have some weeks that aren't as busy as the others. But if you plan ahead, like Lauren just said, you can be prepared for all of that. And then you really have more control over what's going on. Instead of feeling like you're trying
stuck.
to keep up with what's going on, you're now like, I got a plan. I'm prepared. I'm stocked up. I have my retail. And you're good to go.
Yeah, I agree. Like if you go into your service or even just start your day, like I have 10 clients today and I'm going to get at least half of them and add a service to their ticket and or a retail product, you're already doubling the money that you're making, or almost doubling the money that you're making.
You just gave yourself a raise. They didn't even realize it.
I was just going to say that too. Like doing a daily check-in, I would do that with myself every time. And so many of us, especially like in that January time, like it starts getting a little slow. Like you were saying, Crystal, business goes up and down, and we have to be flexible when it comes down to that. But in our slower areas, when we do need that business, even just doing that daily check-in, oops. Some people had to cancel even yesterday. And I know, especially with our SDs and waxers, like those last minute cancellations just hurt us so bad. But if we realize like, hey, okay, maybe the day before or that morning as you're getting set up, just check in and see, okay, well, I need to make up for that lost revenue. Where am I going to make up for that? And like you said, planning. We need a plan of action. If you do those add-ons and sell retail, especially through education, like I always say, you can make the strongest sales through educating your clients.
Always.
Tell them what they need. They will listen. And
they value that.
They value it. Those results
They
will
should
prove it
value
too.
it. And if they don't value it, then they're not the client for you.
And sometimes you have to be confident enough to say that you are worth more. And I think a lot of beauty professionals have a struggle with that. You know, they want to be nice and they want to be accommodating. And of course, we all want those things. But as you have to remember, you're a business owner.
Right.
You're a professional. You have other things to consider, especially if you're jumping out into solo SD, right? You don't have the manager there to take care of that angry customer for you, right? You now have to be the one to handle that conversation, and you have to be able to know, like, this is my value. I'm a professional for this many years. My work has a quality to it that, you know, deserves this rate.
Right.
And being able to stand behind that.
And if they don't respect it, then like I said,
there are so many providers out there that they might be a better fit for, but when you
you're
raise your
not
when you raise your prices, it's almost like I'm able to promote myself. I'm giving myself a raise. Like, take this journey with me, and a lot of clients are going to support you. Some may fall off, but you're making room for people that are going to be willing to pay for your value and what you can offer them, and they see like, oh my God, that's all you're charging, right? You could have the complete opposite,
and it allows you to have more free time as well, because you don't have to work as many hours and take as many clients to get to the same revenue goal. If you want, you know, you don't have to. If you want to keep working the same amount of hours, then please, you know, live your best life here. But
Starpil, we love work-life balance. You need it. You need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and the clients that do push back, like, oh, I've been coming to you for 10 years, yada, yada, yada. Like you said, Crystal, like, you just have to really explain to them, like, yeah, and I appreciate you following me through this journey, but, like,
this is my next step in the journey. I would love for you to continue taking this journey with me in my growth in the career. I love that you've supported me this long, but now I'm moving forward, and I would love you to come with me. If not, it's okay to recommend them to someone that's a better price point. That's
and
okay.
they will come back to you, because just because...
It's also about taking care of them. What if you recommend someone that's in their price range,
but
and
they
don't
want to mesh
there?
Personality-wise?
They're going to come back.
Always.
They'll see your value. Yeah,
always.
For sure.
I was blessed that when I changed my prices, no one cared. Everyone was like, good. Like, I don't even know why.
I love that for you.
You were doing it this low in the first place. But
that's something to think about,
lucky.
Right? If your client was like, "Wow, you should have done this," like that shows like they really value you and they knew your worth. So that's, you know, that speaks volumes. I'm sure that gave you a lot more confidence.
Yeah, it gave me more money too.
Well, they're showing their support too. I had so many clients like that. Like, it's been 2 years. You haven't raised your prices. Like, why? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think like you said, Crystal, people get anxious about raising their prices because they look at it as losing revenue instead of gaining
Exactly.
income.
I'd rather have
5 quality clients than 10
people that you're
clients
squeezing in,
right, or
things like
come
that.
in late
Last minute.
Yeah.
People that don't respect your time.
My friend started her morning with 3 no-shows this morning.
Oh no. Have a no-show
Back to back.
policy.
And she does, yes,
You
definitely
need it.
have
Okay,
a
good.
no-show policy.
Good. And implement it. Because I know a
facts.
lot of us have it.
I was
And
lenient.
we don't stand by
and we
it.
don't stand by it.
I was
We're like,
lenient
okay.
with my no-show policy. But if you did it like 3 times and you didn't even text me, baby, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Charging that card. So again, this goes back to investing in your business and raising your prices, enforcing your policies, not giving discounts just because someone's upset,
Right.
navigating that. Crystal, how do you, and well, Lauren, let me ask you, I guess, how did you manage dealing with an unhappy customer that didn't necessarily respect your prices, like after the service?
Oh, those are always fun. You know, I'm a big and firm believer in like no surprises. So even as a customer, right? Like you go in somewhere, especially like a restaurant, for example, you see the menu, you see the prices, you already know what you're coming for or have an idea. You want to add something on, okay, but you're aware of what those prices are before the service,
Right.
And usually for every business owner I've ever met, like it's very clear. Like these
Yeah.
are my prices. You can see them online.
Especially if you book online,
Yes.
like there's no reason why. Hair, I can kind of see if you're doing like color or something.
Yeah.
But like a wax, a facial, maybe if you like get an add-on service or something. But
Right.
a wax is very
It's very
straightforward.
cut and dry, but even with hair or add-ons, like if you're like we were talking about, you want to add on that revenue for your day, if you're gonna talk your clients into it, or if they need it, usually they need it anyway, so you're helping them out. I've always even taught my students as an educator, like, just let them know, hey, I really feel like your skin needs this today. It's going to cost an extra $10. It'll only take a few more minutes. It's not going to extend your service time. But just that open communication
and
and
educate them on how they need it and why they
the
need
benefits.
it.
Yes.
Right, like adding on a facial.
What is this going to do for me?
Right.
And
like
why do I need
you're
it?
suffering from these ingrowns or dry skin or like
Exactly.
the weather is changing. A facial or any add-on service will benefit your
In some
result
way.
and your experience, right?
Exactly. And when it comes down to it, as long as they just understand what that benefit is, more often than not, they're so like, sign me up.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not just sales and your bottom line and making that number. You're servicing your customer, your
Right.
clients who support you and care about you and know that you have their best interest in mind. So
Right.
that sales through education, showing them this is what it's going to do for you, and I care about you and your skin, and this is going to help, and this is why. But I always had that transparency, even with hair. Like you said, color, certain things can kind of vary. Even just giving them some type of estimate so there's not that surprise price at the end does kind of help with that, like, oh, well, I'm not happy I paid this price at the end. Like,
Right.
well, you did agree to this price.
Right.
You
And that's
already
why
knew.
like the education
Yes.
portion should reflect the price that you set for a service.
It is.
Because you're, again, explaining the benefits, why, how, all of that. Yeah, Crystal, I was going to ask you a question, and my mind.
I mean, just to go on a little bit more, like people are coming to you because they are solving something. They're
Yeah.
looking for a solution. And guess what? They don't know what that solution is because they're not the beauty professional.
Right.
You are. So if they have a concern and you realize, hey, this treatment is going to help your concerns. If you were mentioning that you were breaking out, this is the beautiful product that you should take home. The vajacial, right? As long as you're mentioning, hey, I know you were struggling with ingrowns. I think this is the perfect service for you, and this is why. And list all the benefits for them. You definitely want to touch on the price point. I would touch on the price point after you've told them how this solves their problem and making sure that they see the value. And then you can say, I can solve all this for you for only whatever
extra,
that upsell is.
$25.
Right. And a lot of times those upsells, if you go back to that, what does it cost you? I love an upsell treatment. You can use a Maystar skincare for the body peel and the treatment afterwards. Oh my God, you can get so many treatments out of that for nothing. You can add on a nice $10, $15, $20 upsell.
At least 20.
Yes.
And you will see it probably cost you $3 a service. And you made $17 extra.
Yeah,
You might be nervous to raise your Brazilian $17, but you added on a 10, 15-minute treatment that did it
cost
for
you $3.
And you're benefiting your customer, telling them why it's helping them, and then everyone is happy, right? You touched on the sales thing. Like some people feel like I'm being too salesy, but you're educating. Like you're educating your customer what they need, and I promise you, they're going to go home and buy something else. That's probably not the right product for them.
Absolutely.
Probably going to cause some irritation after you did all
they're
that beautiful work.
Go to like TJ Maxx and buy some stupid product.
Yeah. It's the truth. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth.
Yeah,
There's like statistics on it. Most people leave a salon and they go somewhere else to buy the product. It's just about education.
Right.
Educating them why they need it, and they will trust you and they come back to you.
Right.
And what you said is so important, like even touching on like pricing and those very sensitive conversations after, especially if someone isn't happy with the price point. It's that trust that you're building that just shows if they're unsatisfied or kind of uneasy, that shows they don't really trust you to begin with. So now I need to reflect back on what was this conversation
service,
like?
How's the service that I'm providing? Or like the ambiance that I'm providing, reflecting on my
was it the
clients.
right client?
That too.
For me,
because we need to think that's something not for this conversation, but sometimes as a professional, I know we want to be nice, but
fire those clients.
Sometimes you have to say no, especially if you know it's not the right service for them.
Yeah.
I've never provided services. I'm a manager. I've been the manager of places. Yeah. So, if someone's requesting a service or requesting something, you want to make sure you're delivering that for them. You're being specific as to the price and all that information. But
managing expectations.
It's so key because then everyone feels good.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone feels good. And some people might be like, oh my God, she's turning me away.
No.
But if you did it for the right reason, no, but I think we should do a vajacial today because I noticed you're struggling with this and I don't think it's time for a wax. But this will help you with what you're looking for. And then in a week or two, we can do this.
Right.
I think it's hard to remember, especially as you're building clientele and kind of at that point considering, is it time to raise my prices? And is this right? That we kind of end up forgetting to, about those things. You don't take those into consideration that, oh my gosh, it is okay to say no.
Oh, I had never had a problem saying no.
When we don't feel like it's right.
I never had a problem saying no to a client. Sorry.
Oh, that's good.
A
lot of people struggle with that.
I was at European Wax Center for a long time, and I was blessed that my franchise owner was like, you're the professional. Exactly. You control the room. If you feel like for whatever reason that this person can't receive this service, then they're not going to receive the service,
I think that's really important to touch on because you had the support system that gave you the support to say you can turn someone away. Sometimes not every environment is like that.
Oh, no.
Sometimes
I know I was lucky with that.
Sometimes, unfortunately, you have someone that maybe just wants you to do the service
just to
or
make the money.
You're by yourself and you're a little nervous. But I think that what they said is so important. The key in that, though, is that because you're a business owner, if it's the wrong client, if it's someone that might have an irritation or something like that.
You're losing money.
And you're putting yourself at risk. It's not worth it.
It's the risk. What could possibly happen if I do this?
Yeah.
I was always taught too. I had a great support system and a great manager who was like, you can say no, it's okay.
Yeah.
So but important. Like you were saying, not everyone has that. So when you're unsure, I would always tell students, think about what those repercussions could be.
If you're unsure of a service, don't do it.
You're right.
I said Starpil telling you say no. It's okay.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. Protect your customers.
Yeah. If you have to second guess.
Yeah.
if this person is gonna like have a reaction or something like that, you gotta go, but you gotta
but
wait.
kind of. Right.
Crystal, I want to go back to what you were saying about like the vajacial and the price point, because I think that ties in. Like if you offer a vajacial essentially to like every Brazilian, you have 10 Brazilians, you offer all of them a vajacial, that'll put you in a position to, one, need more product, so move into a higher tier for, you know, Maystar and additional products. So for someone that has been established and they're kind of confused on how to raise prices or like what tier they should go to, how would you, I guess, help navigate that? For those that are interested, Crystal is your girl.
Number one, call our reps, call our PAMs. They are here to help and support you. Our personal account managers here will go over your specific business needs, how much wax you're going through. For me, it depends on where you are, right? But like, let's say we're talking about a larger salon, right? Because not everyone's a small business owner. Maybe they have a few SDs underneath them, multi-salon owners. Number one, figure out what's your products. What are the products you love and you always need to have in stock? If you love our pink film, if you love our black film, you know you need wax.
Right.
You need wax, you need a warmer. Like those are two things that you will always, always need. So I always suggest to go for the highest tier, but it is going to be the lowest price per pound.
Right.
So it's just about figuring out how quickly am I going to go through this, because you will go through it.
Right.
You're going to go through it. You need that. And we don't want you going to Cosmoprof or somewhere else to pick up something else. You know, we want you to have your trusted formula, because you know your clients also know when there's a difference.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. They are very attentive and opinionated, and they will definitely let you know if they have any concerns. So number one, get your wax at the lowest price per pound. You are using black film, you're using Starsoft, whatever your formula is, perfect. Now we have a starting point. Let's figure out how we get you the lowest price per pound. And then let's say you were thinking about Maystar. Maystar pricing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Compared to, it's so easy to to bring that into your salon. We don't have minimums. We don't have anything like that, or an opening order for the skincare, so you can try different products. And then again, once you find the ones that you love, let's get you to the highest tier. You're going to get the lowest price per pound. And if you're talking retail, you're going to be able to upsell that. Like you said, you're going to double that 100% what you got it for. And it's just going to make it so much easier. So if you know I'm going to be able to price this at 100%, now it's about how do I get it lower for me so I can make the most money.
Right.
Because you're going to need it. So I'm a big believer in figuring out the basics first.
Absolutely.
And then go.
Building up. What about you, Lawrence? Because since you're Nova's just, well, I guess technically two formulas now because the fragrance-free and non-fragrance. But since Starpil has multiple lines, I guess, do you feel like it's the same for you when you're figuring out how to help people invest in their business and raise their prices?
It is different, right? Because it's such a unique formula.
It
is that all-in-one, like, versus looking at having, 1 to 3 different formulas on hand. You just need the one. So it's a lot easier to look at your numbers. And one of the things I always tell my clients is, like, I understand you don't have that time. A lot of the time when you go home, you're still working. Clients are texting you at all hours of the day, as we know. So I look at that order history. I always talk about it as a complimentary review. Like, let me take that stress off of you. I'll look at your numbers. I just sent an email over to one of my great clients. Like, they're still working at building their business, her and her best friend. And they're like, we need to save money on our wax and really make sure that overhead cost is going down, because, like you were saying, profit margin, it starts getting smaller and smaller. We want to maximize
sometimes
it.
you don't even really realize
you don't unless
you're not paying
looking
attention
at the numbers, right? But like you said, it takes time. But even looking at upselling or add-ons, we have new things coming, which is always exciting. But I always look at our pre and post care, because I wish we had a little bit more really cool like marketing info for our SDs to give their clients, but I try to teach them the education on the products that they need to teach their own clients.
Yeah.
Because it's education with sales. You're teaching them how it's going to help them, and all of those pre and post care products can be retailed.
Yeah.
And again,
not for Starpil. Starpil, some of the pre stuff is.
yes, that's true.
But it is still imperative that you have a quality pre and post
my gosh,
line, because that will cut into your profit margin as well. If you're not using the right line, your waxing service isn't going to be as good as it can be. So I know, Crystal, I personally love the pre and post Starpil products as well. But it definitely ties in. Yeah, I know, right?
Love calendula.
The calendula mousse is just like, oh my God, it's beautiful.
It is nice.
But all that ties into investing in your prices as well, because you still have to take into effect the pre and post care, the sticks, the disposables, your gloves, which are crazy expensive still. The cotton rounds and whatever other little stupid thing that you don't think of. Right. Exactly. Bed
goodies.
paper, retail bags.
There's a lot that goes into your cost for a service.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes you forget to think about all those things, and it could be a little overwhelming at first. But once you get it
once you
down,
once you get in a groove and you actually like create some type of form or outline structure for yourself with your ordering and your numbers, it'll be so much easier for you at the end of the month or the end of the week. I used to do my numbers every week to review how much I'm spending, how much I made, you know, after all of my expenses, like rent, because my rent was weekly. Rent,
Same.
wax, whatever ordering I did, what I paid myself or didn't pay myself that week.
Yeah.
All that just ties into big circle of life of being a solo waxer.
Yeah, you got a lot of responsibilities.
Seriously.
Yeah, a lot of things go into it.
And there are things we forget about too. Even like you were saying, little client goodies. Even just like our water dispenser.
Oh yeah.
Like providing water. Like I was even paying that every month.
Oh no, I was blessed
forgetting.
at
Like,
that where I rented.
nice.
Yeah, they had coffee and tea.
Oh,
and
nice. A lot of
so I
suites
didn't
don't
to
have
pay.
that.
Yeah, I didn't have
My
that.
rent was
experience.
expensive.
That's good.
So right,
But
but
that
they
client experience
appreciated
is
like the
important.
lobby and all that stuff.
Goes into you get what you pay for, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm all about the client experience.
Yeah.
You have to. We're in a beauty industry. You have to make them feel like a celebrity when they come in. My people feel good. They want to. That makes them want to come back.
Yeah, especially if they're paying a premium price, you
Right.
want to get them a premium experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people forget about like they're not just paying for the service.
Yeah, they're paying for the
They're
whole.
paying for your time.
experience.
They're paying for everything else that they get
Education.
coming to
Yeah.
see you. Exactly.
Yeah, because when you think about it, like I will pay more for a perfect service or a perfect experience and
Yeah.
the service be like, than a lower price for a subpar overall experience.
I mean, I feel you. If I'm going to invest my money in something, I want to know that I'm getting a great experience. I want to know that I'm going to enjoy it.
Right.
Especially, we all know we got to make sure our money goes a little bit longer. And part of that is making sure you're having a good experience, you're having a good time, you're enjoying it. And those are all things to consider that also might be affecting your client retention.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Because your client retention definitely affects your pricing. 1,000%. Yeah. That can be a good episode too.
Yeah.
Client retention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch on that you feel like we didn't hit?
I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff. I just want everyone to take home with them that it's okay to raise your prices. Have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
Have confidence in your professionalism, your education.
Absolutely.
Education for estheticians is not easy. It is a lot of money. They do a lot of continued education.
Yes.
And I really just want to make sure everyone looks at themselves as the professional that they are.
Absolutely.
And the business owner that they are, and they feel confident when they need to raise prices or educate their customers on what they need, whether it's an upsell service, whether it's a retail product, whether it's them doing the right home care. which is so important.
Oh my God. home care is my biggest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always, from a professional standpoint, from a solo SD, definitely invest in quality retail products. Not that just you like, but that you know that your clientele will like, and at a price point that your clientele will buy it. Because if your clientele doesn't want to spend $80 on a serum or on a body wash, then you need to readjust and find something that's just as quality, but maybe just a lower price point.
Yeah, fit their needs.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of, I should just say, professionals in this industry that are starting out and are booked and considering raising their prices, even if they do have that confidence, sometimes they're not also looking at what their client market is or what is my clientele. I think that is the biggest struggle.
That's a huge struggle because you get caught up in like what looks good and what you like as a professional, but from a non-professional standpoint, it's not their need, you know?
Or they don't understand it the same way because they're not a professional.
Exactly.
So sometimes you have to make things a little simple for everyone so they can understand it. And you were mentioning like maybe you do feel that $80 product is the right one for them, but you know it might not be in their price range. You can educate them on 2 different products, right? One that might be in their price range, but maybe doesn't hit all their pain points.
Right.
And then you have the higher one, but offering them options and educating them on the difference. Sometimes you might say, hey, I have one for $40, but it's only going to hit 2 out of your 3 pain points. And then I have an $80 one that's going to hit all of them and some. Then they start thinking, is it really worth it for me to invest in the $30 one? Maybe not if it's not hitting all the things that I need. But if you don't give them a comparison.
Then they're going to get neither.
Right. And then they're going to go to TJ Maxx, right?
They're going to go somewhere else. Exactly. So options are really good. Educating them are good. And having different price points. Like we spoke about the Maystar skincare episode. I love the oil balancing lotion, but we have different skin types. So what works for me might not work for you, but you would have all of those in-house for your clients because you know that there's a need for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think it's good to point out too that too many options sometimes is
it's way too much, especially if you're just opening.
Gonna have that negative
my
effect.
God,
Never more than 3. Rule of thumb.
For your clients especially, because then again they're just going to be overwhelmed and like, I don't know, too much information.
Start small.
Yes.
And big up. Build big up. Oh,
I knew what you meant.
Up. Jesus. This was a great episode.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to talk about.
I know.
I love it.
Again, this is our beautiful Lauren. She's in town just
for you.
Crystal, do you want to tell everyone how they can reach our wonderful Pams?
Absolutely. So you guys can call in or you can email in at info@starpilwax and we will set you up with an account manager. We also have links on the website that you can fill out a form and an account manager will contact you within 48 hours. It's on the homepage and the pro portal. So we are available when you guys need us. We can text, call, email, whatever is the most convenient for you and your business. Our goal is just to work with you to get you set up for success. That's all we're here for.
Exactly.
And licensed estheticians on staff.
Yeah. Yes. Lauren, what about you?
Yes, and you know, I'm a cosmetologist, but still licensed. It's really nice. Nova has the Nova Pro wholesale page, so you can just go to Nova Pro. Right at the top of the website, you can find all the information on the wholesale program. And by signing up for wholesale makes it sound like it's like such this lengthy process.
But it's not. It's so easy.
But it's so easy. So I always like to touch on that too. It literally will take less than 5 minutes. You can submit the application if you want, or there's a phone number right at the bottom. You can call us. We'll get you set up. But we also have a really nice appointment feature too. So if you just go to nova-wax.com/appointments, you can set up a brand introduction call and get with one of our account managers like myself who can go over all of the wholesale information, your exclusive discounts, and make sure that we're setting you up with that plan to get the lowest price per pound every time.
I love it. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Pink Table Talk. And I will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.